DreamHack Open is brought to you by Corsair, Monster Energy, Esport Management, and GGBet.
Well, that first game may have been quite impressive, but it is only the tip of the iceberg. And ice is not necessarily something you're going to encounter out in the waters here in Brazil. Welcome back to DreamHack Open Rio 2019. That first game seriously was amazing, but we've still got so many more to go. And we're going to be jumping into our next one in just a bit. It's going to be W7M against Valiance. Now, W7M coming in as one of the Brazilian teams, I'd like to think that that audience is going to get real loud for this team.
Indeed, I'm sure that they will. They're obviously up against a really uphill battle, though, against the Valiance team that is full of really, really strong players from the European region and who have been looking pretty promising lately. So it's definitely not going to be an easy task. I know the hometown will be behind W7M, but I mean, they're going to need a lot of extra help from the crowd to do this game.
They definitely are, but I'm sure they will. I mean, this crowd was getting super hyped for this United Avantgarde game. Granted, it was a very exciting game, but you're absolutely right. I'm fully expecting them to come out and fully support W7M, and you know what? I think it's going to give them a little bit of an edge.
Yeah, we'll see. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at the group so you can see what they've got facing off against them. This is Group B, and they are the very first match. So if they're able to pick up the win here, they actually play against a very comfortable opponent in either one of the Brazilian teams coming in from that other match. Yeah. So if you're a Brazilian CS fan right now, you're pretty pumped about this, because if W7M picks up the win, you are guaranteed a
Well, they're
Brazilian
guaranteed
team.
anyway. There's 3 Brazilian teams in this group and 2 come out. So
but
you're going to get
just
someone in the playoffs from this side. Yeah, Valiance is definitely going to be the stiffest opponent, though. I think it's going to be a battle between W7M and Sharks, that second seed. I think they've been playing against each other even within the region, and they kind of go back and forth on each other. So I think it's going to be interesting a little bit later on. But yeah, they have to try to deal with Valiance first, and again, I think that's going to be a tall task.
No love for redemption. What is this? You know what? They're my dark horse in this group.
Fair enough, Mark.
I feel like I got to root for something here, and I'm going to root for the team that came in at the last minute, saving the day to fill in for that spot that was left vacant by AGO. So, I mean, I'm very hopeful that that is going to be the case. But I'm told that we have 3 reasons why. Potter, I'm thinking it's you this time, correct?
Yes. 3 reasons why I think Valiance are going to win this matchup. These are pretty self-explanatory. Valiance is absolutely the more experienced team. It's a team that we are more familiar with, especially these players that are on this squad. I mean, we've got Hunter, that Kovac blood, Nico's cousin. I think that already gives him an edge in this matchup for sure. And I mean, the second thing, we already talked about experience. Valiance, every single member on this team has a lot more LAN experience, double the experience, triple the experience even than W7M. So, and they have stronger mechanical players, just pound for pound. If we put up each player, it's a really tall order for W7M here.
Now, let's look. So you've got Kovac blood, you've got the stronger mechanics, and you've got the experience. Here's one thing that I think a lot of people forget. You guys clearly know who coldzera is. I think everyone in the audience knows who coldzera is. What most people don't know is that coldzera did not actually win a single LAN event in Brazil before he joined the team he's on now. So,
really?
that's not to saying like maybe these guys are going to come in and win, but it is showing that one of the best players in the world prior to leaving Brazil did not show much in his own region before he was given the opportunity he was given, and now he is very clearly just an unbelievable Counter-Strike player. So there's still plenty of talent to be mined from Brazil. I mean, we've seen so many players, and I feel like we're still seeing so many more. When a team like Furia popped up, I was like, there's no way there's enough Brazilian players left that are going to be in like that top tier, and they just keep proving me wrong every single time. So I have hope.
I also have hope as well. I mean, and we have so many Brazilian teams actually coming out into the scene. Furia's not even in the Pro League. There's multiple Brazilian squads that are in the Pro League. And so, yeah, there's definitely a huge pool of talent within Brazil. And I think we've been reaping those benefits and rewards by spectating them and finding a lot of talent down here.
So we do have the map bans and vetoes coming in.
Sure.
between these two teams. Dust, is there anything we should expect to see?
Maybe Vertigo. You always have to throw that in there now that it's there.
More
and I
hopeful,
think,
wishful thinking.
I think it's more likely we see Mirage or Train. Like, if I had to guess, I think Mirage or Train, based on these two teams' map pools, their recent results, what they like to play, I think Mirage and Train are the most likely candidates. But again, you could see Vertigo throw a spanner in the works big time just because you don't know
Here
what
comes the
anyone's
Vertigo
doing.
ban again.
Is it
Do
coming?
I get it 2 for 2? Oh, man. I did not know these ahead
You're
of
going
time.
to see that a lot, I feel like. You're going to see a
Yeah.
lot of chicken going on who is going to be the one to ban it at the end. So Train gets banned, so it will indeed be Mirage, one of the maps I kind of expected to see. There you go.
And Mirage is definitely a map that for W7M's side of things, it's a map that they have a good shot at being competitive on. It's a very open map, and it's a map that is going to come down to a lot of individual plays, what they decide to do in those mid-round decisions. Because it is such an open map, it's not like Inferno, where it comes down to a lot of the strategies and set pieces.
And timing.
And timing,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mirage is a lot more open duels, open battles, and very straightforward trades.
It's definitely a catch-22, I feel like, for W7M, because with Mirage, it's definitely like one of their most played maps within their region. They've played it so many times with this lineup or with the core of the lineup, and so they're going to feel very much at home on the map. And like you said, it's very open and allows opportunities. But you're going against a team named Valiance, who has a lot of talented players, and this is by far their most played map and most comfortable map. So it's kind of like two strengths clashing, right? Both teams start feeling pretty good about Mirage, but Valiance is the more proven team when it comes to results.
We do have Valiance setting up on stage as well, so we can take a look at that roster as they're getting prepared to jump into this match. You mentioned that this is one of their best map. How many times has Valiance played this?
Like close to 30 or something like that if you're talking about
They are
online.
21-8 online currently, and their last LAN map records is 4-2, and so they definitely have a good showing on this map for sure.
Indeed, and we're actually looking at W7M here first on your screen, one of the hometown teams. This is a team that kind of competes within the top 3 of Brazil, I would say. It's kind of them, Sharks, and Imperial, who are playing the best in some of the regional leagues and online qualifiers. Of course, they qualify for this tournament over teams like Isurus and Imperial. Isurus, of course, being from Argentina, and then Imperial being one of the Brazilian teams. They do pretty well in things like the local Dell Gaming League. They also won the last season of ESEA Open in Brazil over Daytona, which Daytona got kind of famous because they made EPL. They're going to be in the Latin American side of that a little bit later on. And yeah, they've regularly kind of competed within, I would say, the top 4 of Brazil, you know, ever since this lineup really came together. And they have a couple of players who can perform pretty well. So definitely Pank is one of the guys that you want to keep an eye on. He's been performing really, really well online, but we haven't seen it on LAN yet. He's one of the younger kind of upcoming players on this team. So this is actually one of the players you probably need to see. Can he perform really well on LAN against a top team like Valiance?
For sure, and I want to take a look at Rafa. Man, this man has 1.14 rating on Mirage, and actually, W7M has been playing Mirage online quite a bit. They have a positive win record. They're 12-5 currently, and so yeah, it's definitely a confidence pick for them. They were probably very hopeful that it would land on Mirage, and this is probably their best shot at making it competitive versus Valiance for sure.
One thing working against him is they did just recently pick up a new 5th in Rio. He's actually been playing pretty well, though, on the team. He's been pretty consistent, but again, that is obviously going to make things a little bit difficult when you're kind of working with a new lineup. Granted, Valiance in their own right's pretty young in their play together, only been together for a few months, but when you're coming in as an underdog, that can maybe impact you a little bit more, as you do see Rio right there on your screen. Definitely a guy who can put up the numbers, but again, this is a way bigger test for him.
I want to give him the credit that's due. I feel like a lot of people will just write this game off right off the bat. They'll say like, oh, I have name brand recognition for Valiance. I know the guys, I know the players I'm going to see. But I feel like every time a new Brazilian team gets an opportunity to play on LAN against a team that we haven't seen them play before, they impress us.
For sure. And
going way back to like when the
yeah.
first Brazilian team started coming up, they always have that impressive like map right to start things off.
And you know, that's why I asked Fitch also how he feels playing versus a team like United versus a Cloud9 or a Fnatic, because those Fnatics and Cloud9s, they're going to stick to the meta as close as possible as they can, because that's what's going to get them the consistent results that they're looking for. But these lower tier teams that are trying to make their mark and come out of the scene, their main priority and goal is to win the match that's they're faced with in front of them at that moment. And so they're going to be more scrappy. They're going to be more explosive, right? And so these consistent teams that are used to facing the Cloud9s and the Fnatics, they're going to be a little thrown off. And I think we saw that earlier today with Avangard versus United.
You kind of see the same thing too, like when you look at the teams coming in from the Southeast Asian region, because you have teams who like come in and no one really knows what to expect, and they've been working on their own different meta. Like that region is so isolated that the meta there is different than what you see everywhere else. So they've got their own strats, their own set plays, their own defaults that don't mirror what is done everywhere else, and that could be happening as well with the Brazilian team.
Yeah, now we're looking over here at Valiance. This is kind of a team that's been blended together from two teams. You have Esperanto and Nexa coming over from Imperial, who's a team that won DreamHack Summer last year, won Copenhagen Games last year as well. We're doing really good against teams like from the Danish region, actually, like North and Heroic and things of that nature. Esperanto, obviously, a talent that, you know, has been kind of flashy, very young, and then Nexa, also a really, really strong player. Then they combine with a couple of guys from like kind of the former Binary Dragons lineup, some of these guys from the Balkan region, like Letny and Hunter, and those were guys who were qualified for Marseille last year, been to a couple other events like Copenhagen Games, did pretty well. Then you have Otto, who you see on screen now, the opera from Finland, kind of one of the talents that Finland has outside of Ensign, outside of Sunny, who of course is kind of a free agent right now. And this team has not played together very much. There's not much to hit on, but a couple of key points is that at the European Minor, they were the team that knocked Mouse Sports out of the major circuit. That was a huge accomplishment, and they were almost going to make the major. They were playing really well against Vitality. It was really, really close. And they won a smaller land pretty recently here against Wendigo, who's obviously noteworthy because they just did so well at WESG, and they've been kind of tearing it up online as well, actually. So definitely a lot of talent on this team. Still really young in their lineup, though, so don't really know who they're going to be, but so far the signs are pointing in a positive direction.
You can go ahead and vote in the chat. Put in your own prediction. It's exclamation point VAL for Valiance and exclamation point W7M for the Brazilian side. So, you know, pretty soon that's going to take us into our predictions, and I feel like Dust has already really been writing it on the wall. I think he knew coming into the series who he was going to pick, but personally, I don't know. That map pick for me does kind of give me a little bit more credibility, even though it is a strong map for Valiance. I feel like, in general, Brazilian teams have always done decent on Mirage, and I don't know, man. I'm kind of leaning more towards the home favorites.
Smokes. I mean, Brazil is the team that kind of innovated Mirage and showed us something new. So, I mean, you might be onto something, Buck.
I mean, I think it's really going to come down to, like, Rafa, who's their AWP and definitely their most consistent player. The op can be so vital on Mirage, particularly on CT side, how mobile you can be defending both sides of the map. And they're going to go up against the Valiance team, who's very, very explosive. Like, they really favor the aggressive play. You know, they have Esperanto playing a lot of those forward positions. They're going to be using him a lot to try to open things up. And even Nexa, who kind of plays on the A side of the map on T side solo. More of a passive guy, but can make plays when he needs to. And they also have an opper, Otto, who can be quite good, but he is a little bit of an up and down player. He's one of the guys that's been like kind of the least consistent, I feel like, of all the stars on this team. Whereas I know I'm going to get from Hunter and Nexa every single game they're going to perform. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes on Esperanto and Otto because they're the two guys that have such high skill ceilings, but don't always live up to it. And here, a game like this, you would certainly expect them to. You're going up against, you know, lesser competition than what you're used to as far as like pedigree and results and experience. So this is where you really should shine if you're going to.
So with all that said, Dust, why don't you go ahead and give me your prediction for this one? Who's it going to be?
Listen, I think Brazil has a lot of great teams, and we're going to see a lot of good stuff later, particularly from Furia, but I just don't think this is their day. Not this team. I have to pick Valiance. Just like all logic points that way, unfortunately, for the crowd out there.
All logic does point that way. I'll have to go with Valiance as well. Part of me is hopeful. The underdog story is always exciting, but yeah, Valiance for me.
You know what? I'm just going to be honest. I need more fans, and there's plenty of Brazilians out there who will love to hear it. I'm going to go with W7M. I have a feeling that the Brazilians are going to come out swinging. I think that people are underestimating them, and I'm hopeful.
Yeah?
I'm really hopeful that, you know, maybe Valiance is going to stutter step early on, and W7M is just going to take advantage of that and just pile on rounds, and it's just going to be all downhill from there.
I like it.
Like I said, I just think that my biggest issue is that, like, Hunter was a super consistent player. He sacrificed his roles to Esperanto on this map, and he's still putting up massive numbers. He's made Esperanto comfortable, who's still performing. They get Nexa and him get to play the same spots they played pretty much the bulk of their careers. They're just too comfortable on this map, man. And the thing is, when you're W7M and you're coming to a stage like this where you don't have that much experience playing against bigger teams, and then you have a team that likes to play a really fast-paced, explosive style, that can be suffocating, man. Like, all the oxygen just kind of leaves the room, and you're just gasping for breath. And I feel like, are they going to be able to handle that pressure? Is going to be like the biggest thing you have to focus on.
It definitely is, but coming down to Mirage, it seems like a really comfort pick for W7M and on Valiance's side, and I think it's going to be close.
Yeah, I don't know. Part of me kind of thinks that this is going to be another series like the last one we just saw, where maybe we'll see one of the teams get off to a strong start and then go into a couple overtimes. I mean, it would be a great way to start the day with two really strong series to start the day because, you know, I think that in general people are underestimating some of the teams at this event, like W7M and potentially like Redemption as well. I don't know. I'm still feeling comfortable in my pick. I still feel like W7M is going to surprise you.
It's not crazy far-fetched in the sense that, you know, you have to see what they do in an opportunity like this. I mean, so far, all they've really gotten to do is play within their country, and they're doing just fine. So now it's like, do you take that step up? Like, where is the gap? Like, how far is it? You know, maybe you're dominating in your region, or at least like in the top 4 of your region, but there is that big step you take once you come to an international stage, and for all we know, maybe they can live up to the hype. I think the biggest problem I have with W7M, and one of the other reasons why I couldn't pick them to win, is that outside of Rafa, no one else consistently has firepower on this team. I mean, they all kind of perform at roughly around the same level outside of Rafa, their Opera, who is kind of the one that seems to be doing kind of the heavy lifting, and in particular, Pank, someone who's been really good in an online regional play, has at times struggled offline, and that's the kind of guy you need in a game like this. You're going up against Esperano, Hunter, Nexa, Otto with the AWP. Like, you have all these really star-studded players. It's just like, if you don't have consistent firepower and you're up against that, like, it's such a tall task at that point.
I mean, let's take a look and see if Twitch chat agrees with us, because at this point, you know, you are painting the picture.
Oh.
So see, the Brazilian audience is really getting involved in this vote. You know for a fact they always show up. They always step up big when their teams are playing. I would like to think that a lot of them are out there casting their votes for W7M. Do I think that those odds are realistic? Even though I put my vote with W7M, not necessarily. I'd say it's probably a little bit more towards Valiance. Like, what would you have to put the odds at? Like 55, 45, 60, 40?
I would say like 70-30.
Oof.
Oh.
I mean, if I'm being reasonable, I think 70-30 is pretty fair. Maybe, yeah, no, that's fair. I think that's fair.
See, I was going to, you know, make some fans. You're trying to lose some.
I'm just trying to be real. Like, that's all I can do. All I can do is take all the information I've sifted through and come up with the most logical answer. And unfortunately, today, and in this particular game, it's not going to be the Brazilian side for me.
I mean, you were already right once today. Unfortunately, we went with the homer pick, and we were both wrong.
You know what's great is later
we were
on.
almost right.
We were close. We were very close to being right.
That's very true.
I think we
We
were still
should
more
have
right
been
than you.
right.
Because even though they won, you thought they were going to win more, so we were more right than you because it was close. That's how it should
I'm pretty
be.
sure it's just whoever was right is right.
got
I think
one-
that's really the end of it.
if you
I
got
don't
one
think it's
point-
really, you can't weasel your way into this one. And here's the other thing that's really neat is later on, since we have 5 Brazilian teams, it's going to be Brazil versus Brazil. So we get to, you know, pander to the home crowd pretty much the rest of the tournament once we get there. But I can't do it just yet.
I mean, if you got 1 point for that, we got like a half point.
Oh, come on. What is this?
I just made up the point system. It's called the box system.
Okay.
The box system?
Yeah, but Dust does not get the same luxury as us because he's already up since he got his first prediction.
So we have a handicap already?
It's kind of like pistol round. You get the 1900 instead of the 1400, so that's what we got. We got the half point.
Okay.
Whatever you want to do in your imaginary world up there, man.
Yeah. Right now, we're just waiting for a few of the players to jump in on the
Sure, fair
server. So just looking at this map in general, is there anything that we should expect to see out of W7M?
You know what? I'm going to talk about, I mean, the fact that it's Mirage, it really does bode well for W7M, not only because they've played it so much online, but also because it's very straightforward, actually, and it's so open, the map itself. Hopefully W7M, if, as Dust mentioned, pound for pound, skill-wise, mechanically, they're not able to hang with each individual on Valiance. Hopefully they've had a lot of time to prepare and bring up a game plan. We saw E United, they had a lot of great set pieces, and that enabled them to get 7 solid rounds on their T side of Inferno. And so if we see W7M coming out the door with a similar approach with really strong set pieces, that's going to throw Valiance off their game. And it's really throwing a curveball at them because it's breaking the meta. It's really scrappy plays and gimmicky set pieces. And so if W7M had prepared something like that on this map, they're definitely going to make it
And
competitive.
look, I'm not going to BS you. Like, you've asked me what to expect from W7M Mirage. It's hard to know, right? Because we just haven't really seen that much exposure from them in an environment like this, and so I kind of really can only speculate. But what I can say is that if you're ever going to have a game plan on a map, Inferno and Mirage are their top 2 played maps. And so if any map is going to be well refined by them and well practiced and drilled, and you know, having your protocol set up, it is going to be Mirage. Like, this should be the map where, in theory, they should look the most tidy. They should look the most disciplined. And again, like, I think someone like Rafa with the AWP could find himself some opportunities because, again, there are these situations where sometimes Otto doesn't really quite show up as much as he should. And so that could be a situation where he might be able to take advantage of that if Otto's having an off day and some of those op-on-op duels. And the other thing is that Mirage provides a lot of freedom to an operative to be flexible, move around the map. And if he can kind of take initiative and find a couple of picks here and there, then that maybe can get some of the other players going. So there's definitely some win conditions for them. It's just they're far and few between. And you really certainly expect Valiance to be kind of hitting them pretty hard throughout the rest of this game.
Here's the one thing, though. Mirage is one of the maps where I'd say of the current maps in the map pool, Mirage is the map you're most likely to be surprised by a team with a new execute. You don't really see that on many other maps. Like, if you look back across the last few years, when a team has come up with a new execute that really surprised everyone, was like, whoa, that was creative. I've never seen that before. It was probably on Mirage. Maybe it was on Overpass. But in general, that open skybox, and then Valve even took it and opened it even more. Now you have so much flexibility with utility that you can really come up with some creative stuff, going way back to when Tyloo did like the Great Wall of Smokes, and they were like doing all these creative plays that no one had ever seen before. That's always been on Mirage. So I'm hopeful. And then the other side of this is, in my opinion, there's way more pressure on Valiance than there is on W7M. Because I would say that people come into this and they expect this is an easy group for Valiance to take the victory and come out as the top seed. I think that in general, like looking at that group, people would say there's no reason why they shouldn't be the #1 seed.
Sure, some people thrive with that, and some people, yeah, it can kind of get them into maybe like a choking position where the Heimlich needs to come into play. But I think the biggest thing for Valiance is that because they have so much talent, even if someone is having an off game and having a hard time, there's so many other players who can step up and kind of fill that void to make sure there's enough firepower on the team. And again, because you're playing that super fast-paced, fast tempo style, you can get away with a lot just off that individual skill. Like, you can be explosive, you can really kind of make W7M uncomfortable. Again, it can be very suffocating if you're playing that fast-paced style. And I think one of the great things about Valiance is that they're so flexible, because Letney and Hunter are from teams that could at times play a little bit more structured. So they do have that mentality of like, we need to have a good functioning default and set roles. And they do. When I've watched their games, they definitely can play, default mid-control styles of play. But they have those players that have that mindset of just go. Like, I want to get in their face. I want to play really aggressive. And so they're really good at doing gimmicky things. And that's really difficult for an inexperienced team like W7M. How many gimmicks can you handle? Like, if, let's say Valiance decides to overload connector with like 4 players on a mid-rush, like, can you handle that? Can you handle when they do their window boost, which they're very well known for on the Valiance side, to use window room as a terrorist, and that's an added thing. You already have to worry about mid, A ramp, palace, all that good stuff, and now all of a sudden you got to worry about your own window. So that means that the defense can get a little bit spread thin, too many responsibilities, and depending if you can handle it in the heat of the moment, it can really lead you to lose some players in key situations. So I just think that, while you may say that the pressure could hurt Valiance, again, you'd have to go through so many players, so many dominoes would have to fall before the whole thing would crumble, and they would really be in some trouble against a team like this. I think that they're diverse enough and talented enough to where that shouldn't really give them too much of a problem.
I mean, Astralis lost 16-2 on LAN recently. Anything can happen.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
I mean, I don't think anyone coming into that series would have gone, oh yeah, Astralis is going to lose this one 16-2. Like, there was no reason why anyone would expect that. Except for maybe me.
I mean, it was the best of one in the group stage. So and
this is a best of
really
one. Best of one in a group
you're
stage.
You're really grasping at straws, though. That's really what you're doing here. Like, grasping for straws for sure.
I don't know. I kind of do feel like this is going to be the time that we'll see an upset in the group stage. This is the map to see it on. Because if United beat Avant-Garde,
the map
I don't
to
think
see it
that
on
would
would
have
have
been
Vertigo. That's the map that you could maybe see an upset on. But I think the pedigree of Valiance on Mirage is really stout. And you know what? If I'm wrong, it makes it that much more exciting for everyone out there who gets to see the W on the upset, right? So it's a win-win. Like, either I'm right or I get to help supply some fuel for all like the passionate stuff we see if W7M pulls off the upset. So see, it goes great either way.
I mean, I don't know. I agree. I have to agree with you, Bach. Mirage is a map where we see a lot of 8-7 halves, 8-7, 9-6. Sometimes nowadays 9-6 in the T side favor, right? And so I do have to agree with you. It is probably the most closely competitive side on both halves that we have in CS:GO as far as the map goes. And so, yeah, I think you're right. You're onto something, Bach.
So, I don't know. Maybe the casters agree with us. I do believe we have them standing by. They are ready to start the game. We've got Mr. Stronny and Mr. Launders.
What's up? Dust, I got your back, bro.
Yeah, Bach, you gotta loosen the bow tie, buddy. You've lost blood to the brain. I mean, there's no way W7M can win this. We're talking about Valiance. I've been sat here biting my tongue waiting for it to come to us.
Maybe on another map
I needed to save my boy Dust over there,
Dust
man.
is on Shutter Island right now. Everyone's saying he's crazy, and he's just gotta stand strong. I mean, just hold your ground, Dust. You're doing good.
But you know what, Bach? I gotta give you props, bro. You started to convince people. You were drawing Potter to the dark side, right? That's what I'm saying. I mean, okay, the map may play into it, but no matter how close you may have sides, no matter how close you may have this playing field, Valiance is on a whole other level.
Well, why don't you guys go ahead and take it so I can prove everyone that I'm right.
All right. I mean, let's do it. I'll eat Dust's words for him.
But we already know he's ill-intentioned. He wants to prove to everyone that he's popular.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Yeah, go ahead and win that
Bach's
battle.
Dust's got a good point, though. Right? There's going to be so many Brazilian versus
Bach's
Brazilian
trying to get
games
himself
later.
Fired. He's like, yeah, we do all this analysis, but none of it matters, actually, because anything can happen.
No, I mean, there's just so little to go off of for W7M. If you strictly follow international Counter-Strike, you don't even know who these guys are, and that's completely fair. Sure, they may have a breakout tournament. Sure, other Brazilian teams have done it in the past, but I mean, I just can't see a world where you can surpass the individual talent of a team like Valiance. You know, they weren't far off from nearly getting into what were the first stages of the major just not long ago at Katowice.
Dude, they got knocked out by the other V team, Vitality.
Yeah, one of the final hurdles.
Yeah, and I remember Esperanto had like the saltiest tweet, you know, teeth clenched tweet where he was like, I can't believe how good Zywoo is, and that was literally how they won the map. I think it might have been Inferno or Mirage, I don't know, one of those. But I feel for him, and I think if not for that map, we would have seen Valiance go even farther. So I am a huge fan of the team. They do great. And Mirage is just like the sickest map for them ever, especially Esperanto.
Yeah, I mean,
he is amazing on Mirage.
It is the Tom Biz quote that must be mentioned anytime you see Esperanto here on Mirage. You have to give, you know, whim to it, and that is, if Esperanto doesn't have 20 kills at least on Mirage, it's because he has over 30. You know, that's all he does. He's such a sick, like, late palace lurker on T-sides at times. He just, it's a home turf for him. And, you know, I have to give credence to Esperanto because in 2017, when he was playing with, Imperial, their first showing at a DreamHack Open was DreamHack Tours, and the hype was around Esperanto. He was the lowest rated player at that tournament, and his team bombed out. 1 month later, they go to a different DreamHack Open at DreamHack Summer, and at that event, they actually created this crazy upset, besting teams like Optic, etc., and Esperanto was sitting there as the tournament MVP. Never in history has a player gone from, in 100K events, from the bottom-rated player to the top-rated player MVP, except for Esperanto. And I think that just speaks volume to what Dust is saying. When you look at guys like him and Otto who have this incredibly high ceiling, and sometimes they don't reach it, but when it is reached, it's normally here on Mirage.
And also, Hunter's related to Nico, so that really
He's
helps.
got that Kovac blood.
That's actually his true point. Like, it's something to think about. He is super good. And yeah, it's just so much star player potential. So everybody's in the server this time around, except for one player on W7M. And then I think we'll get started.
It's it's W7M getting revenge.
We've talked, well, the desk has talked about a lot about Mirage and W7M and Valiance, and there's not too much more that we can contribute to that conversation. I think if we look at just the map for what it is, the problem I feel like where the difficulty slopes even more is because the meta is run so dry that I think, you know, if you have a team who understands that, there's not much that W7M can throw to them, even if they're a team that they've never played before, that's going to catch them off guard. Like, there's just not a lot they can do, you know? You might have a Palace Lurk that they get away with. They've got a great Palace Lurker. That's like the one free piece of movement you have in a round on T-side. Apart from that, there's timings for underpass, top mid smoke, the molly to window, smoke to connector. All this stuff is just so understood by teams that play Mirage for a long time, and it's going to be a game where both teams are going to be entitled to understanding like kind of what's coming their way. It'll be very, very hard to get away from the individualisticness that will happen on a map where the meta's run pretty dry.
And I mean, don't forget either, Esperanto, I may have said you got this great Palace Lurk in him, but that is just one of his very many tools. You're talking about a player who can just as easily fly through middle, get up connector into these A hits. He'll just run at you straight up A ramp Mirage. And if you can't show him early on in a game that you will consistently stop him from being that kind of, you know, disrespectful entry fragger, he will keep doing it. And he will do it and do it until you're battered and bruised, and it's not going to be easy to ever stop him. So he has many tools to work here on Mirage, and that's before we even get into like the op setup, where I think they have another edge in Valiance. You know, Otto's sick. In terms of Finns not playing for Ents, I think he's one of the best.
We got a little bit of a computer problem.
FPS issues.
Back into
they only have 300, you know, it's not enough.
How very specific about how many FPS we need. What's the minimum FPS that you'll turn on Counter-Strike to play?
I will at times play under 150.
Under 150?
Sometimes.
Holy smokes. Yeah,
but 150 is, I mean, you're also talking to a guy who plays solely European matchmaking from Canada.
Okay.
So, you know what? I don't let the technology hold me back, Wanders. I accept the challenge.
Accept the challenge. You revel in it.
Global Elite, by the way.
Global Elite, by the way. Yeah.
Matchmaking and Wingman.
How long until you get a shirt that just says Global on it?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was figuring maybe you could design them. We'll make them Boxer official.
Okay, then I profit. Yeah, I like that.
No.
Oh.
You don't profit.
Oh.
I just get to use your logo.
Oh, I see. Okay, so just free exposure. That's why I should do this.
Right. You know, you're doing me a solid. When is the Boxers Scrawny collaboration line coming out? Is that ever a thing I can look forward to?
Do I get to profit off it?
Yeah, you can profit, but I get to design the clothes.
But then we don't profit.
Fair enough. What's next, Mo? When's the big release? I mean, I know everybody always calls for boxers.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah,
you
that's
told me
it.
that it's just not very viable.
It's just a lot logistically difficult. Ents made a very good pair of boxers.
Of underpants, yes.
They're awesome.
They also have a scarf. Do you have a scarf?
I asked for a scarf, but Natu did not give me a scarf,
Oh.
unfortunately. He said he was running low on scarves, which I don't know who's running out to buy scarves, but they are really
I mean, they're
nice.
they're from Finland, so I feel like it'd actually be a hot commodity.
Yeah, it's kind of like a silky, regal-y type of scarf. Our next release, we're actually teaming up with a old Counter-Strike player who used to play with Roka. His name's Rona, and he does like pure street art now. Actually, does like murals and stuff like that for the city in Ohio, and the city of Ohio. And yeah, so we've got 30 seconds. Or, well, I guess we're gonna sort of a break in a second.
In 30 seconds.
In 30 seconds.
Specifically.
We wrap up this conversation.
Yeah. Anything else you need to hit on the head?
Yeah.
You're just telling me about your street art.
Yeah, so
we're talking graffiti clothes?
We're gonna use him to make a whole collection for us. That's it.
Oh, an entire collection.
Entire collection.
Can there be boxer clothes with just like my face on it?
Yeah, but we want to sell clothes. Is the problem.
Oh.
Yeah. Again, we run into that problem, but
that does become a very real issue.
Right. Okay. Want to go to break?
We have 20 seconds until we can throw to a break.
Oh shoot! What do you want to talk
So
about?
I'm just going to tell everybody to use this chance to stand up and stretch. Stretching is very important,
Yes.
and you've probably been sitting for too long. Then get water.
Drink
And by
water.
the time you come back, we'll be into the map, folks. It's a slight break before W7M versus Valiance. Welcome back, folks, and thank you for your patience. Some technical issues. You know, we had that lower FPS, Mohan, but now everybody has more than 1 million frames. It's through the roof here at DreamHack. DreamHack Open Rio, the first stop of many for the open circuit this year.
What else we got?
What else?
Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, are they all announced? I'm just
Off
double
memory.
checking. Yeah, they are. We got Tour, Summer, Winter,
Winter.
Montreal that no longer has CS,
Rotterdam.
Seville, Rotterdam. Bro, we're going everywhere.
Everywhere,
It's
worldwide.
a global circuit. Mr. Worldwide. DreamHack
the
Open
pitbull
himself.
of tournament circuits.
But right now, Mohan, we are heading one place specifically, and
Mirage.
that is Mirage. It is no illusion.
I jumped in there before you set it up.
Yeah,
Sorry.
thanks.
I apologize.
So into the action, we have it. Valiance on that T side. W7M Gaming, the first Brazilians to step up to bat here in Rio de Janeiro. They're going to be going rapidly up connector, trying to pressure the jungle side. Excuse me, Hunter. He's actually opened up shop, so that's the cat player down. Rafa just gets deleted.
That's crazy.
Yep. Who's Nexa?
Man, that was so fast. It was like pre-fire almost. That was insane.
Yeah, expect this kind of pace. I mean, I don't think it's just because we're in a pistol that you're going to have this rapid momentum from Valiance. You know, they want to duke it out. They want to throw hands. Right now, W7M wants to throw something back their way, but Panks just tucked into the corner. Could get the best of Otto if he finds timing. We've got Riots up on the site. Nice headshot, even better. There's 3. W7M, they're on the bomb site on top of it. I mean, they've got a kit. They have a kit on YJ. He's sticking the bomb, and yeah, they've got it. They've got this pistol. Oh, baby.
Yo, that's a 4K from Riots, bro. That was one of the sickest 4Ks I've ever seen. Those 2 shots when he jumped up, oh my God.
Skirt. Dude.
That was sick, dude. That was so sick.
What a flick as well.
All headshots.
Valiance are all looking at each other like, these guys aren't good, right? Like,
Yeah, they
you know,
had that round made.
They've got to double guess themselves. Okay. What a turn of affairs. That's a, what, 3v4, 3v5?
Yeah, the spots were all good. They had the man advantage. They had everything. And the Valiance are creeping up the A ramp. There's mid control, so now they're starting to pour their way back into the A site, but Hunter's already out. And there's no one in CT, which is the problem.
Yeah, there's not going to be anybody to get him, especially with these cross players kind of awkwardly in transition. So sure enough, no one holds back Hunter. He sniffs out YJ.
Ooh.
Second headshot in the round. Creates all that space. Now Riots rotates inwards, and he's not able to maintain that spray down. So Valiant, sure, they lose in that retake. W7M out of nowhere. But just as quickly as in the pistol, they slice through this A site.
Now they'll just try to save. They've only got SMGs, so all of the good guns are camped out on. I don't even know if there are M4s to work with, but it was a walkout A ramp. Mid control is fine in that situation. Like, it was kind of not a bad call, but it was a bit of a gamble with not having anyone in CT. You could have had, if they had one in CT, for example, the guy who wasn't under Balk, then if they rotate back in, it's all fine. Everybody can live. And then they can actually retake, and Valiance just perform the walkout, they get the site, but it's a full-on retake. Instead, they had someone dedicated under Balk. He needed to be protected, and because they couldn't do that, they lost the round before the bomb even went down. A nice couple of entries from Hunter, and we move into round 3, a round where W7M are going to be buying again. They have a scout. They don't have great guns. They also lost that round pretty decisively. I would actually have saved probably in this situation.
We'll see.
Oh my goodness, that was super close.
It's going to take some damage back. No real mid-contest. Riots could pry off Catwalk, but just that MP9. We're talking about a disadvantage at a distance.
I think if that round was closer, maybe you buy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if it was closer, then even if you don't have good guns, or you saved like at least one rifle, but they didn't even save one rifle. So we'll see though. They are in the correct spots. Like, you know, this close mid control is good.
Riot's kind of tucked away. He gets the best of Esperanto. Straighted, sure enough. We've got that scout now back on Rafa. Good headshot flick onto Hunter. Could even add another to the tally. Here comes Real with a kill off the van, and it is just Nexa. Forced by, works out so it seems. 1v4 is left to go, 50 seconds on the clock. That scout towards bench, I mean, such a good reposition from window towards B.
That was such a nasty shot, man. He wasn't even lined up properly for it. Had to hit this flick, which is very few pixels to work with. And Valiance went 1 for 1 on the CPL player as well. It was a good MP9 kill in there. Kick off the hot pace. And Rafa won't be able to hit it again, but he doesn't need to. Nexus here in 1v4. He's only got a Galil. It's over, and W7M, even though they lose the second rounds at half buy, win it back with a much worse buy than Valiance had. And once again, you know, the amount of stuff, like, you expect Valiance to buy here because they have even better guns than they had on the second round that win back. They're going up against better guns themselves, but 3 AKs is super suitable. They've also got a SIG, so they're low on utility. I would be most worried for a late or an A-ramp walkout if I was W7M to begin with. So here we've got their spots a little bit more passive on the A site, camping on these angles to see if they try to lurk out. They want to know how much money they spent this round, because if they see that they have guns, they know they can't have that much utility, which means and if they know they're going to do walkouts sometimes, this would be a prime opportunity to do so.
Hunter just got hit at the top of mid, tagged by Rafa's scout. As Letney takes a little chip damage off the frag. 3 flashbangs left. Starting to group up towards this A site.
They're just doing the late round walkout, I guess, so it's a little bit less obvious, but it seems like still the best move for them. Pank could have one hell of a grenade for him if he catches his timing. It doesn't seem like the jump spotting worked out.
Oh, not bad.
Not bad.
Softens up a bunch. The clump of T's do still get outwards. Pank.
Oh, damn.
Well, he's got himself 2 before being dropped. Letney creates that space towards CT spawn. Now remember, we're not talking any smokes here for Valiant, so
they need to just go for the default plant and fall back and then hope that CT's wide open.
And it is for now.
It is, yeah, for now.
Real's coming. Eventually he'll get there. They're going to give a little bit of time for Valiance to get into their post plants. Not as though they can push forward here, so it's very clear as to where they can be. They've had eyes on Palace this entire time, so very much fixated on the bomb site. Good play from Real to get the first one. Esperanto off sandwich, low HP, and they almost line up for him. Nexa can still pull this back. Oh, he's done it! 3 kills for Nexa off ramp.
A monster, an absolute monster. The last player was full health. He was low by the end, but what spray control, really sick stuff from Nexa, and another round back into the favor of Valiance. This is 1 apiece each round. That's crazy. So they do go for the late round walkout. I think it was the most sensible play considering their utility. They also cut noise really early, so you couldn't tell if they full bot or not, and that made it difficult for W7M to judge. So I like what we're seeing from both teams so far. Shots are being hit from W7M, and to me, the best part about that is that they're not nervous. Now we're going to go back to that anti-eco towards Cat.
Yeah, this time much faster. They're not going to give any time for W7M to get into position, but these rifles are still a problem. Now they're gone. Real just getting one. So finally, takes 5 rounds, but we've got a team winning back-to-back.
That was also a nice setup from the CTs. They had a lot of manpower at B, so they're ready for the hold. They hit the first 1 dig on there. They got a couple of kills. Another couple were very close.
Yeah, look at the HP.
It was a team effort there. You can see the kills are very spread out for Valiance. But they eventually get into the site, and this kind of really grasps a hold of the momentum. They've earned themselves. You expect there's not going to be buyout for W7M after this round. It's in a game where the Ts and CTs are going back and forth. The CTs are going to lose out in the end. It just costs too much more for them to buy. So they at least get to recycle the armor, the UMP, but they should really not force here, I don't think. I did say that last time, and they pulled it back, but again, it only becomes harder and harder. And there's 3 rebuys here for Valiance, lots of money on everybody. So we'll see what the deal is. Loss bonus hasn't gone anywhere, which is kind of interesting for both teams. 2K apiece, Valiance will know exactly what they have in store for them. A couple of smokes left up, and we'll see if they pick the correct site to stack one more time. Valiance smartly going out to mid control, which can be dangerous sometimes, but they like to anti-eco Cat to B. They did that 2 rounds so far out of this half. This time they're lower mid.
YJ, CZ. It's not quite that which still belongs to Pank and an aggressive A setup. But it's something. The CZ could pop off Hunter. However, he's been afforded a cross. Flash off mid, auto, can't maintain it. That's a CSG picked up.
Oh.
Drops the bomb, in fact. But there you have it. He's going to come in from underpass. That really does help. You can start to see Hunter's MP5 kind of challenged.
Yeah, and Nexa gets tagged on his way out, and Pank's going to just follow up, man. He's going to chase him to the grave.
Come here. Never going to find him. All the while, bomb moves past Cat, and we have Valiance in full B control.
So yeah, kind of put in their place a little bit more. A nice eco round, though. They did burst out mid. They called out Valiance. We're going to go there. So the reads from W7M have been impressive. Next round, it's going to be a question as to what they're going to be able to work with. If it's just going to be another half armor buy. I think it might be because of full reset. Or just not being able to get loss bonus anymore. Nice, man. These shots are really good. I mean, they're hitting most of their bullets. They don't seem very nervous. They're getting really amazing headshots. I mean, if you're hitting scout shots, like in a big land versus a good team, you know, you're clearly not nervous because those are the most kind of precise ones that you're going to have to hit all game. Okay, they've got enough money. They don't have a lot of grenades. Mirage is a map that is very hard to keep together if you lose 1 CT. I think the advantage in 5v4 is even more pronounced on Mirage on the CT side than most other maps. Here, having smokes is of the utmost importance, probably the most important grenade. And it's going to be on Valiance to just try to crack that open slowly, if possible, because they know they have a utility advantage. The only thing is WM7 have these AUGs.
Still 2 smokes up. Hunter, he's going to boost it into window. No one's there to watch it because Rapid's attention just got drawn towards sight as Hunter walks through smoke. And...
Oh, is he going to get spotted, though? Oh, no, he's not.
He's made it past. Hunter is behind them. Pank sitting over on ticket booth. He's moving right now. Yeah, he's figured out. Oh, no. Hunter trying to get as much info as he can, and Pank moving forward makes this even worse. Now, YJ does pick up a kill in the meantime. In fact, he gets 2.
Yeah, the bomb's dropped in front of Connector as well. Hunter, he's going to need this, and he can. Droppa gets the better of him. Holy smokes, the round has fallen apart. There was so much information game there. You can't hate him for making the play. When they were in Connector, though, I think, you know, that round needed to be slowed down, and I guess they wanted to draw a distraction for Hunter, so nobody ended up looking behind them.
Right. But still.
But they ended up dying. Yep. So pretty sick 2K. It ends up being mid that's so important. And if it makes it feel even better, there was no way for him to kill YJ. I think if he got the kill earlier, maybe YJ turns around. But there's no way for him to know that YJ is there in the first place.
So, what seemed like a round for Hunters, taken away. What's next? Valiant's going to come out from the A ramp. Pank very much fixated on Palace. This is going to afford them a lot of space on the walkout. Pank's got to be careful. He's going to have players dangerously close. Hunter turned away. Still alive. In fact, Letney saves him. Oh man, bit of a blunder. Hunter could even go one further. Past the ticket booth, try to section off CT spawn. They do have that plant and standard, and there you have it.
Okay.
Deagle to the brain. W7M, they're gone.
Yeah, they're going to...
Just like that A site.
It's a lot to lose in this round. Not much money left over. They can save the AUGs. They can save the M4. Try again next round. It's not too bad. They did get bullied out of the A site one more time. I think Valiance had the pick of the litter when it came to strategies last round. They went for mid control, which is fine. Anything you do, you have an advantage because you have the utility advantage. But they could have gone for an A ramp walkout again. It would have been very strong. I think this is going to continue to be a problem for W7M. I know they've switched now from having a dedicated player within smokes on the A site to outside and CT spawn, which is smarter. But Pank has peaked and died in that situation. And typically, if you're in CT, you want to try to get a kill if you can. For your team, that'd be fantastic, because then you're 5v4 retake. But if you die and it's 4-4, that's way worse. That's way worse than not getting a kill at all. Situation dependent, obviously. But sometimes, if you die, then they can plant for default without having to worry about a smoke. And if you're in CT, even if you don't peek, that option is completely removed, which becomes a huge factor when all of the T-smokes finally come up.
Flash fully real. That's the support of Rafa. Scout on Pillar. Ooh, tough spot to be in. And now with the T's already having fallen down towards Van, you can see the panic start to sink in. Real not going to find anything for his efforts. Rafa just pinched from too many directions, and as YJ established his flank, he could catch Auto low HP, but B has crumbled. And this round's Valiant through and through.
Harder, of course, of the two sides to retake, so they're going to give this one up. First off, great flash. If we look at B apartments, you see a very tight choke point. One of the hardest places to entry out of. And so the value is there. If you get out of the apartments, the round is almost yours. And in that situation, they let 4 players out without any of them dying. Most of the time, if a team has 2 players in the site, they're going to guarantee themselves that they get at least 1 player coming out of the window, and then once they get the first player, everybody else kind of stops. They try to look for a frag, and that's when the execute falls apart. In this situation, Valiance threw a fantastic flash, and that allowed all 4 players that were there at the moment to get out into the site and stand there. And it's fine once they're there. They don't actually have to cross onto default, go to get the bomb down. No, they just need to sit and wait, hold on the window, hold on to empty pillar, hold on to bench. If bench isn't peeking, just wait for these kills, and that's basically what happens. So now Valiance cracked B open wide and also A. They've got a lot of plays that they can make. W7M definitely seem very confident, but they have significant issues at this moment, especially if this is possible, right? CT wide swinging into 3 Ts he doesn't even know are really there, and then your player from that kind of flush of pillar that he loves to play is not really useful. He's got a scout, he's dealing with players who can wide swing on him from the site, and he doesn't even know if there's any more in halls.
The B site ripped apart. Had Valiance aggressing on both sides of the map, but it looks like mid control is what they want this time once more. Riot trying to get eyes on it. Smoke refreshed. That Molotov would push the player out of position. Riots would have to move. Rafa still hasn't regained vision on mid.
Powerful spot for a CZ. See a lot of operators do this. You stop any mid lurk, that can happen, especially knowing Valiance. And oh, Rafa actually peeks out, finds a good time and kills Hunter for free. And he's been spotted, but he drops the smoke early in case they try to flush him out of position. There's not really an easy way for Valiance to get this kill.
Yeah, Pank's flashbang gets the SG to fire off. They're going to exchange a bit of damage, but here comes YJ from inside of the bomb site, just standing next to Standard. However, the connector pinch is coming in. Letney and Esperanto looking to combine here. Bomb dropped. And YJ, whoa. Spam damage almost there. He doesn't see the player jungle, but he's still alive. How? Finally spammed down by Letney. There's the round. To W7M it'll go. The 4th to the board.
Yeah, Letney really took his time there.
Yeah.
It didn't actually matter, considering YJ was the other one to get the kills, but yeah, a close round, a good hold from under Bell, good repositioning from the CTs, working back into it. I like Valiance going to A again. It seemed like something they should test. It feels like 3 rounds were to come, but Y7M had all their ducks in a row, ready for the A hit, And now we'll get kind of a mental reset here. Valiants have to rethink how they approach the site, see if they can be a bit more tricky.
Ooh, yep, he's got it. Pank spots the head, hits Hunter. Letney's gonna try to give Chase the trade, and he loses his duel. M4A1S coming up big, 2 kills on ramp, and completely redirects Valiance.
It's a huge chase to go and get that frag. There was a chance. Pank ducked, and it seemed obvious to Letney where he was. He just couldn't finish the kill. Good hold from Pank. Like that he got in front of A ramp as well. Very smart positioning if you know an execute might come your way. Oh my goodness. Snapshot from Esperanto, and it looks like 2 fantastic headshots. But the trade is out, so the man advantage remains in the favor of W7M.
Yeah, do they expect Esperanto to be so far deep?
This gun's gonna stick out here. They might have been called. Oh no, he can't be spotted actually.
Market's not there, so Rafa's gonna walk up. Oh, Esperanto's got a third. I mean, this guy could just turn around and ace. That's the Esperanto factor.
Take that bomb back to the A site and have him flank. That would be the best situation for him to be in. He's gonna hear that though.
Easy read, but not the easy kill. Real.
Just ran through.
Yeah, gonna take it back, so very much pushing Esperanto into a clutch position. 3 kills on him, 21 HP, and 2 more players to drop. First one's gonna be red. Ooh, he's got it, Esperanto, just 1 more.
Oh, he doesn't know.
More for the ace.
Does not know.
Pank close right, Esperanto, he's not gonna extend.
Interesting. He's got to get the bomb and go back to B. That means he has to either jump cat. He has to jump cat. He has to.
Pank's giving chase.
Oh, he misses the jump. That's it.
Yeah, there's just no time.
The movement gods were not with him today.
Pank, just get out of here. Don't extend.
Why would you even go to try to
Run.
plant? Oh,
Done.
he's just looking for the kill, I guess, if possible. No one there. Thought he had an idea that he was on the A site, but yeah, he didn't see him. So Pank just plays patiently. That's all he has to do. Esperanto misses the jump, but he's also the only player to do anything that round.
Yeah.
That was a kill that I think it was Auto just needed to get. Like he
On
heard
catwalk, right? He
heard
heard
someone
the fire.
running through his Molotov, so he gets the advantage, audible advantage. He knows exactly when the peak's coming out. He can stand wherever he wants, and he knows that the player's taking damage as well. So you've just got to nail that frag, dude. Like that's the bottom line. Unfortunate.
Just click the head.
Just click the head. Just build, lol.
Valiance, Mohan,
Uh-huh.
are only 1 round ahead of W7M.
Yeah, W7M has some really good rounds, and honestly, their aim looks better. It's only Esperanto and Hunter who look super good aim-wise.
They're up there, 20 kills combined.
Yeah, no, they look awesome. It's just W7M have more players playing well right now.
Wow, ballsy play.
And those are the 2 players who go down right away. Nexa even gets legged at the top of mid.
Coming off of a tactical pause as well. They just throw this Hail Mary.
Okay.
Maybe someone else steps up for the ace. Esperanto couldn't close it. And Nexa opens it at least with 1. But he's pinned into the corner. Pank's going to have vision to this. No pressure being applied from either ramp or Palace either.
Could have been a small chance to make it a 3v3. Would have been a big find.
Should still have a huge advantage versus Riots. Just got to peek into it. Oh man, not even.
It's a nice angle.
Yeah, it is. Unorthodox. Letney, he's looking for his chance to strike into the B site. Could very easily be spotted by Real on Van. But he still has a bit of an element of surprise. Ooh, didn't catch the head, but Real sure will. Now Nexa sees the player drop, and he's on for the 2nd kill, but such little HP. And a very valuable op for the save.
Yeah, a little bit too valuable to think about. He'll take this gun, he'll start to run, but he'll also probably be heard here. Yeah,
Yep.
Real's gonna tune in now.
Triangulating.
Looks for the audible. But he won't follow up just yet. I think it's just gonna be called where he is, because there's still obviously the thought he maybe goes to A, El Palace or something like that. Those might work in Nexa's favor. We'll see.
What happens if he gets killed after time?
Could be an important. Well, he won't make any Connor or any money Connor.
No Connors.
No Connors for him, and also he won't have an op. They won't be able to buy one.
Well, it's a very good point.
It's very good. Very good that he doesn't die for sure.
Factual. Just like the fact that we're all tied up at 6.
We are tied up at 6.
12 rounds deep. W7M doing a good job on the CT side.
Yeah, there's opportunities here Valiants are not capitalizing on. Just not looking sharp right now. Super impressed with W7M. Just in terms of jitters, like just no jitters. Like that's pretty cool. Now they do have the op. They're going to keep the op. The pistols are going to be here to support. Nexa didn't even have enough money to buy half armor, so he's not going to drop that. And see if he can work a pick kind of solo here from the halls.
Should be an easy pick in, but Rafa might want to go check underpass.
This
instead.
is a rotate. There was an opportunity there. So when you push that connector player out, this is when you kind of shove them back into the op, but he doesn't capitalize.
Nope, misses his one shot off. Hunter sits patiently to the bottom of mid. Esperanto finds a bit of timing here on the exit. Walks up, should have been spotted.
I think he was.
Yeah, he thinks he was. Deep Molotov to try and cut off the next in line, because there is in fact a second player. That's Nexa. He took that op, moved it from Palace to ramp, and picks up the opening kill. That's Pank down. Now Hunter's gonna get an easy kill versus Rafa, and he doesn't overcomplicate it this time. Takes his first frag, ensures the headshot, and gets bomb on site in a 5 versus 3, but reels in, has caught the B player. Oh,
okay.
Esperanto just splatters him in the back of jungle.
Free haircuts.
And Riot, well, he's stuck on ticket booth. This is Valiance just walking into the A site, piece by piece. Esperanto gets the info, Opper capitalizes on it, and then all the other pistol pieces fall into place.
After seeing that, I want to know if Valiance are going to try to work the op duels more, because Nexa actually missed like 1 or 2 shots, but they still kept giving him opportunities. And they probably shouldn't have done that. So it's looking like a clean round so far. Real's the only one to save. 3 players up for Valiance. They take a lead one more time. They do it in the confident style. Kill a piece on most players. Lurking in the connector has been a huge thing for them, and also up the A ramp.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, go recover that op, dude. That was a good thing that you had going. They had so many chances. If W7M are going to be sloppy about when they give their op duels up, then they should probably just keep trying to abuse that. But I guess they want to retain their mobility. So also, you know, the ability to flank is huge. So there you can see he had the advantage, just moving slower into the angle, being farther away from it. And it's out to mid control again for Valiant. We wrap up this first half. 14, around 14. Not a lot of utility to work with for W7M.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked. Three rounds in a row, lose one, and you're right back into the force buy. Once more, connector control forfeited over. Valiant's going to take that with open arms. YJ does get curious into Palace, but he'll find no resistance here.
Yeah, he is kind of, they're surrounding them though, because they're not going into Palace, so they got 1 CT, 1 window.
Ooh, Rafa! Ooh! He sets up Pank! Great timing on that AUG. 1 of 2 rifles in the round. Now Real has his paws on an AK. And there's still a scout within the mix. Nexa's going to try to clear out the site, but because they're at a disadvantage in bodies, Palace has not been checked. YJ's in a prime spot. Esperanto maintains the spray, gets hit from the back. There's YJ's push paying off.
Oh my god, dude. He worked so hard for that first kill. You're like, he's done. He's done for the round. He's clocking out. No, he goes ahead, spray transfers into kill number 2. This kid is nasty, man. In round 15, there it is. W7M on the force up are able to win. They find a good timing to peek off of in CT.
Yeah.
The split was so close that if someone came up A ramp, those kills wouldn't have happened. But good on W7M for, pressing for information no matter what. Smoking a connector. Esperanto working the top mid, and it looks like they want to try to bully their way into B one more time. There's only 1 player here this time. They've gotten in versus way more. Oh.
Interesting.
Something special.
Rafa gets caught by the offer. Peek off Real drops bomb, but it's a 1 and done. And now YJ's already facing players just flooding into the bomb site. He'll chip damage Letney. Frag grenade, null. Bomb down in the final round, so the retake's on. YJ's gonna clear the site first, very fast, just pushing out from market before his teammates are in position, and he even gets another. Esperanto's gonna lose the duel. Letney, off the Mac 10, reveals himself from bench, and he's the only player left. Now he's cleared YJ, but he needs the upgrade. Wants the auging, he's got his paws on it.
Oh, he fell out. That was really smart from Pank.
Doesn't know. Blindside from Pank is gonna seal the deal. That's an 8th round for W7M, and an edge as they switch to T side.
That is an awesome round from Pank. Really nice. I mean, even from his perspective, or Letney's, you think, all right, it's going to be a slow workout haul. He's going to hear the jump. No, he wastes no time, throws a flash out, and then gets out of there.
So we'll see you after the break, folks, with the second half as the Brazilians switch sides.
Got away, her smile was real but cast astray. Of all the things I can't forget, I held her hand and she let go. The world went and made us old, a picture that burns when you hold it. And now I'm thinking all the things I should have said. And now I'm drinking from the memories laid to rest. Baby, do you want me back? Maybe for one more chance. Baby, don't let it go and fade away. Hold me just one more time. Kiss me like sweet red wine. Let it be more than a memory of the night. Ago, you were the sun when I was cold, the cover of the clouds close behind. I couldn't find the words to say, then I watched you walk away. Here I am caught in the shadow. Now I'm dreaming of the dance we should have had.
After being down 3-6, we have the Brazilians of W7M Gaming pulling back 5, excuse me, of the final 6 rounds.
It's a
lot of numbers.
It was an intense half. There was so many rounds back and forth. It was cool. It made it for a very exciting Counter-Strike. For Valiance, pretty disappointing. There's like a lot of easy opportunities that were given up. I think Otto and Letney just individually just not here today. Whereas Esperanto, you know, punching way above his, well, I mean, at his weight, I guess. And Hunter as well, doing fantastic on the entries, but that just wasn't enough. W7M consistently across the board, we're all kind of joining in for frags. Now we're into the next pistol. Could be a very important one. Otto gets his first kill. Again, lacking a bit here on Mirage, but that's a good way to bring the momentum back. Losing window control, maybe the most important piece of the puzzle here for W7M to cause chaos. Riot's now going to look for a kill potentially, or is he just going to work on the lurk? It's only going to be a 3-man entry with 1 lurking. It's a lot easier to do when you have 5.
And Valiant's really pulling the bear trap this round. Riot's is going to blindside the window player, but, I mean, Valiant's at first, they give up mid control. Sure, they hold the back in window. Then we have them giving up the A site, allowing for that to happen. Back to the 4v4. Real, he's just going to not put one down. It's Hunter with a double. Looking for another headshot, but he's been pinched. Oh my goodness, Riot
God.
Just flies out past the defenders, and we have Rafa on for the 1 HP clutch. But that's just too much to ask. Valiant takes second pistol.
Dude, what can you say? Got to hand it to Hunter. That was so eloquently done. Masterfully done. Working around the A site, dancing around those 2 pillars, avoiding contact on one player, knowing how to deal with each target when he wanted to. And when that window guy dies, even though it was already a 5v4 for Valiance, losing that window player scares the hell out of you as a B player.
Yeah.
You don't know if your A rotates are going to be late. You don't know if you're going to get flanked right away, but you still got to focus on what's on your screen, and they did do a good job of that.
Big burst out from Palace. We've got a player on triple. That's Nexa, spraying him down with the FAMAS. 2 of them here on the A site, putting in work. It's only YJ, and now he's down for the count. That is Valiant, 9-8.
Dude, another round where they're just getting a lot out of these rounds. That was just Glocks and P250s.
Do you think there's a world where the Brazilians switch to this T side, and now we just have Valiance finally kind of like click and close this game, say like 16-8?
I mean, I have no idea because I've never seen W7M play.
Fair. Yeah.
So I have no idea. I think Valiance is going to be kind of the same thing. They're just going to wait, feel it out.
I'm
Probably
just
play a little bit more slowly to begin with to see what W7M want to do.
I'm very much expecting Auto to be a much more successful piece of this CT side. And I think that if that happens, if he falls into place, then we're going to see Valiance kind of maybe close out as per expectations. But we'll see. It's over to the B site where the action starts to unfold. Hunter has maintained Catwalk with a double kill. This makes Otto's job so much easier, but he's missed the flick, and that opens up a door for W7M. They're into the 2v1, just Rafa, headshot instantaneously, and he jumps across back to safety for now. Esperanto, well, he's got eyes up with the bonus, not the AK.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
what gets the best of him. It's Rafa with a 3K and 9 rounds apiece.
A quick one stolen back. Nicely done from Rafa. That was a crazy entrance in the B site. Otto goes wide on one shot. Positions himself well for the first one, but it's not quite enough. And now, yeah, Valiance have to buy what they can. They're going to go ahead and get the M4. This is a much more tantalizing round. They had it close. It was a 1v1, so even though they only have pistols and stuff, they realize that W7M are going to have to rebuy. Probably won't be able to afford all AKs and stuff like that as well now.
There was a shot there. I mean, I just brought him up again, right? But Otto could have at least held on to that first wave of T's on the exit, but this time again, just not being maintained. Terrorists allowed to flood inwards. Next up, just getting one, but here's Hunter with a kill and Esperanto the exact same. So they just get pinched, they get clamped down on. And Rafa has it all to do. Already low, Hunter with a headshot, Valiance first to double digits.
It's just crazy how the early rounds in both of these halves has just gone back and forth. And we did at least have Valiance win the first 2 in a row, whereas in the first half it was 1-1-1-1. And now they go ahead, steal back another round. It was a intense attack on the A site from multiple choke points, getting all the way across triple from connector. You know, that's a sign of dominance if you're on the T side, but still, Valiance are very comfortable. Now they go for that cat jump with Hunter, leading the charge up mid. He's got support in the back lines, but his pistol's coming his way.
Ooh, good flashbangs, helps out. At least the kill versus Hunter. Now it all comes crumbling quickly down on them. As expected, we got W7M with a big push towards mid and lots of CTs ready.
Possible to know what they wanted to do with that strategy. Could have just been a bomb to Quartz connector with maybe an extra flash. And again, like, look at the kills, like, for W7M. Everybody's in the double digits. It's so much more drastically sloped on Valiance's side. And on the CT side, that for me means if I'm W7M, I'm just looking for Letney every single round. I'm looking for Auto every single round. And I'm just finding out what sites they're going to play and how they're going to play it and see if I can get in. Only scary thing is just Auto, you know, he's going to have an op, which is an advantage. Esperanto pushes into A ramp. Flash didn't do much for him there. He just went ahead and took that duel in his own hands.
Even the frag grenades that they threw in really did nothing.
This is a good way to stop an A execute. You know, deep smoke, get control of A ramp close, and it looked like everybody from W7M was ready to throw over, run up the A ramp, get in the site.
Yep.
CTs all over the place.
Now they've got to fall back W7M. They've got to go back into the mid control, clear out apartments. They have no map control either because, again, like you said, it was very much setting itself up for that full A execute.
Yeah, you talk the whole round, and the whole previous round, and like the freeze time about how you want to take A, and this is how you're going to do it, and then all of a sudden, get stopped at the door.
By some Lithuanian kid.
By some random Lithuanian kid. Yeah, so well, now they're really well spread out, but it's hard to say where they want to go. They're not in position to take B with 2 people. They could throw a fake. Yeah, I guess this would work.
Almost finding him on the exit. Next up. Gonna be able to fall back.
This is great. They're actually
Drawing
attacking
a
from
rotate.
2 choke points, so they're making it very, very kind of convincing. But and the CTs are all here, and they're actually going to re-attempt.
More utility out. Very much split 2-2. Remember, it's just Letney on that B bomb site alone, and he's working with the MP9.
Does a kill happen? Oh, yeah, Letney
Yep,
does
traded.
get it.
Now Pink comes crawling out from his cubby, and wow, continuous spray down into next up. But YJ, he's planted the bomb, and Pank is so far gone that the defuse is inevitable. Valiance will make the best of it. 12-9 the scoreline, but at least they got in, and they had that plant, and had he maybe had more time to get into an after plant and upgrade guns.
Honestly, that's
there's
how
a
you play.
chance.
That's how you play a 4v5. That was really good.
Yeah.
They went back. They delayed for a long time. I like that they didn't have 2 players in 1 choke point, just spamming mindlessly to make it obvious. They like made it really seem like they were going to hit A site, And they also had the 2-layer execute. They started making noise through their first set of grenades, about 40 seconds, and then re-attacked at like 20 and actually committed to the site. So it's hard not to fall for that.
Molotov down quick. W7M have a man out.
That was a good B-hop.
Yeah, movement. That's what gets Mohan going. But Letney and Esperanto, Hunter the third, easy clean up here with the rifles on B. So much damage done, and the bombs dropped in the process, so good luck. Tech9 hits the dirt, and Rafa's gonna follow suit. Not even getting the reload, that's a 13th, and these CT rounds are just starting to stack up quick.
There'll be another rifle up here, lots of money to work with for W7M. Interesting to see if they're gonna buy an op, or if they're gonna go for the 5 rifle setup. We saw Valiance kind of deny themselves an op that they could have picked up on their T side, and W7M will follow suit. This will mean they'll have a lot more money to work with too if they lose this round. That being said, Valiance are close to closing it out already, so they've got to be careful. Mid control out for the T's, and the CTs will respond accordingly. Oh, first kill out from Otto. Needed to see signs of life from him.
A gap in the smoke to work with. So he punctures YJ. Bomb still to the top of mid solo. Riot, he wants to find his opening, and it could be given. Letney is going to crawl in. Crosshair displacement the very last second. Pank's got his way out ramp and actually has a good chance at winning this duel versus jungle, but he can't get distracted with the temptation of clearing sight. You know, it's a very real threat, but in reality, there's nothing there.
So for Nexa, he's got the whole site locked down from his spot if he doesn't move. If he hears something, that's somebody jumping up on stairs. Otherwise, they have to come out of Palace or just cross his crosshair. Esperanto is also supporting him here at mid, and Nexa goes ahead and wins his duel. So that leaves Riot just alone.
Oh, he's got another. AK at a distance grabs Otto, but that's Valiance's 14th round now added. A single T round has been won in the last 7. This is very much Valiance just soaring forward on the defense.
Yeah, yeah. And a couple of rounds have been quite close, but they're going to need a whole bunch of good rounds to get even close to winning now.
Starting now.
And it's a good enough amount of money to buy. Again, if they had an op, they probably wouldn't have been able to afford anything decent. So this is pretty good from them. There'll be a little bit light on grenades, not the end of the world. It's going to be understood from Valiant that they're probably going to be light on grenades. They're probably also going to buy. They're going to assume that. I think Reels had the opportunity to maybe have a full nade set and sacrifice on the gun, but instead he'll go ahead and grab the Galil, and we'll have one of W7M's last chances here, potentially. In terms of plays that they can make, well, there's a lot of them. They still haven't tried a number of things. They did try to work their way into B on an eco round, and then one regular execute into B. I think that went pretty all right. They could attempt that again. I like their entries out to B. They like always get out the window. So that's something they could attempt again. They also did try an A ramp attack that was completely stubbed by a push, but without that push, maybe they want to execute behind it. Instead, this round looks like it might be paced slowly. They've got mid control. They've got somebody up in the B halls, playing the long game here.
But he knows there's at least one close. Bomb carry over towards A. His eyes back on Palace just in case there's a push. Otto very much focused on ramp, and he misses his shot. That was a good chance for him to pick up a frag. Oof. Now Esperanto's teammate's going to get burned into the open. He's pulling all of the attention towards him, and they might not anticipate a man in sandwich.
Oh, they're going to rotate back. Oh, they got B site.
Yep, it's theirs. Good timing by Riots, but he has to hold on to this. Letney is making a bit of a ruckus, and you'd think Riots has this for sure. Yeah. Easy pickup. That's the opening the bomb would hope for. The rest of Valiant stranded on A.
Man, I am super against that rotate. Fundamentally speaking, they had 5 players still alive. Or they lost 1 on the A site, but that was the CT player, and they had 2 dedicated on a crossfire, and 1 player smoked himself out. So they're both going to live. If they didn't hold A, that was a huge failure on the CT's part, whether or not the rotate comes out. And there was so much time left in the round. There's still the option for W7M to go B. So although it was kind of like a good fake by W7M, I think you need to be pressed a little bit harder to actually pull your only player out of B site, especially after seeing them pull off a fake like they did on the previous round.
Yeah, good point. Shouldn't have been a surprise. It wasn't even as though it was like a market player kind of caught transition either. You know, you're talking about a dedicated apartments player. He was just on the lip of the ledge.
Yeah.
You know, that's deep.
The only time 5v5 you pull the last player out of a site, especially a one that's really hard to retake, is if you see the bomb.
And there's
confirmed.
15 seconds, right?
Yeah. But even if there's not 15 seconds, at least you can pull them out for a few seconds, and they might have to go back. But that's like the only objectively kind of necessary situation.
Double op follow-up between Otto and Letney. Heavy mid-presence early and nothing to be found. W7M, I think that because in the last round they didn't have that aggressive ramp play, they felt comfortable going into this default. And they would be right in doing so. In fact, they find an A site completely clear, but there is a gap for Otto to work with. Not that anyone presents themselves. Now, yes, starting to run a little too far forward. Esperanto, he's going to get one blind, but the TCTs clamp down onto them. And it is Valiance with a man advantage on the retake. Riot's in the back of Firebox, blinded. Pank has an angle, doesn't hit the kill, but that draws attention away from Riot. He pops up, trades it back, even kill 2v2.
I'm sticking.
Waiting for another. Oh, he's dropped down into the sandwich. Letney, he's pinned into this gunfight, burned into the open, looking for his duel. Pank will clear him, but the frag grenade went and got the site cleared. The white peak's denied. Pank with a double. W7M with 11 rounds now.
A very nice round from Pank. That was a close call. I actually did not like the play where they flashed themselves into jungle. They did throw the smokes behind them. I don't know if they did throw a second layer of smokes into jungle and connector. Okay, that makes it a little bit better. I guess it was very unlikely that Valiance had so many players in the connector area in the first place.
Right.
But that's why they looked a little bit foolish when they went in there and just got stumped. You don't want to put that much weight on one flash if you can avoid it. But yeah, they did smoke out connector. They did smoke out jungle. So pretty interesting way to approach the site. And the bomb was, I guess, going to attempt to be planted for connector, one of those places where they'd go and sit and get map control. So it was a pressing situation. Pank had to go huge. He absolutely did with those two frags. And W7M stay alive.
For an A set piece that I think we've seen W7M trying to work towards, I'm a little surprised that there was such a significant gap in their jungle smoke initially. Did seem like the stairs player was just waiting for a target. They didn't give themselves to it, but considering they then flashed into that,
dude,
like, man, you're giving them chances.
Even tier 1 teams miss that smoke somehow. I'll never understand it. It costs you nothing to line it up properly, and there's no reason you shouldn't be able to.
Well, that's a lineup and a half. Where's real smoke landing? Into the bomb site they'll go. Okay, it's the double arch smoke. So sectioning off any cat player, but there is nobody there. Even then, they're just going to cool their jets.
Haven't made their way out quite yet, but as we can see from the CTs, they're very far away from thinking about rotating.
That's the one corner you have to clear. He wasn't really ready for it. Letney tap it off the USP versus AKs. He's not long for this world. And that one op in Esperanto, who was tagged towards Ticket, gets into the marketplace, but not in time to stop them.
Yeah, if he's gifted a kill, they might think about this. But other than that, probably wants to save this op if possible. Bomb gets planted 4 up. Nice signs for W7M. And they'll go ahead and finish the job here. Don't want to really give up an AK if possible. Not for the sake of losing it, but more for the sake of Valiance, just strengthening their arsenal. Bomb shot's a bit off for Esperanto. And we'll have a bit of a day saving now.
Pank's going to try to catch him. Oh. Surely he heard that.
I mean, he knows that he has to be around there. Could have been out the backup window, but there's no actual T to search him. So well, this is kind of big. They've got to be worried now about an op as well. There was barely enough money for them to afford one if they wanted to, so they probably would have avoided it. And now Otto will be in his comfort zone. Everybody else can pick up the guns they need, have the utility kits. It'll be a tough round for W7M to win, but we're seeing life, or signs of life. 3 rounds in a row, 1 round early on in the half where they won. And they've gotten a couple of different types of rounds they've won, which is good. Now, W7M look to turn their talents back towards B, but the bomb is still here outside of apartments.
Yeah, it'd be a quick transition down underpass, but they've got to get past Hunter, and he's opened up with the first kill, even then the second. Takes damage, sure enough. But there's the op frag from Letney. This round very quickly collapsing onto W7M. They're into the 2v5 in like the first 30 seconds.
It was like a half Virtus Pro fake where they were doing a running strat out to towards B, and then I think the main point of failure would probably be if the bomb and A ramp dies, because then, you know, no one can save him, no one can recover that, so they rely heavily on the fake. And we can see that W7M are usually faking a lot of the time, which is good. I mean, I think some teams don't fake enough, but Valiance totally prepared for it every step of the way. And once you do fakes like that, you're spread thin, and that's why Hunter is just able to get that first kill. No one's there to trade him, because it's not exactly mid control, it's not exactly an A take, it's not exactly B.
Esperanto, good repositioning here. Anticipates the walkout through smoke, and while it's traded back by Pank, we're talking a 1v5. He's got the first two. If only he hadn't taken damage, then we could be looking at something slick. But unfortunately for him now, his move's limited. Time even more so. He's going to emerge to the top of the stairs, and that's where Nexa gets him on the off angle. That right there, folks, is Valiance securing 15 rounds. It has taken them 27 total to get here, which is probably still shocking, but 3 chances for W7M to force this into OT.
Yeah, I would say Valiance in the first half were just terribly underperforming, especially on an individual level.
Yeah.
Even Otto in the second half was going a bit wide with op shots. You know, they were still flicks, so you're going to miss flicks sometimes, but you know, a couple very important ones that he didn't hit. That probably cost Valiance a round or two. So a slow start for them, and kind of a lackluster performance overall. I think like W7M, on the flip side, were hitting shots. They look really good in the first half. They're doing some cool stuff IGL-wise with these kind of complicated fakes into the late round. They had a good 4v5 round, which I thought was awesome to watch. So it's kind of good and bad, and I think that's, you know, how we see a scoreline like this. That being said, the game is actually not over. Really good, almost end of the half here for W7M as we might be wrapping up.
Oh, B push. All out B push. They're going in hard. We've got the smokes down from Letney. Flashes follow over. Flying through the sky is Pank. It's traded by both Rafa and Real. Hunter, he's inside of the bomb site though. Spam through smoke. Oh, that's a saving grace from YJ.
They gotta probably rotate at some point. Yeah, no one's even close here. I thought we had one underpass, but that was a T. So they had no idea that this was coming. There was not enough information gained. The chain flashes were beautiful.
Yeah, that was nice. You see how blind they were, Valiance, on that site?
Like, yeah, that pinging sound over and over again. Oh, they work it. They didn't have a lot to work with. B rushes are great. Also, if you throw your flashes well enough, then the player sometimes will come up and walk cat to here. If he needs to throw nades, won't be able to confirm that he heard anything. The flashes are good.
I love me a good old B rush off a pause.
Yeah, they actually threw, I think, the arch smokes as well while they were running. So made it feel like there were 5 players getting into the site, but they definitely had 2 players, maybe even 3, 1 throwing flashes, 2 throwing smokes.
To be fair, I think Hunter was in a good spot to do even more damage. Remember, he picks up 2 of those first frags, but he was just spammed through smoke. You know, caught inside of the bomb site, trying to move over, trying to reposition himself for like a huge play. And had he been given the opportunity, maybe he cuts them off. Opportunity?
And that'll happen. Buy isn't great for Valiance. They've got some nades, but W7M know they're in a power position right now. Instant default. Focus on mid. Wow. YJ hurt.
90 damage through smoke.
Wow, Riot's tagged up too. Half his HP is gone. Not even sure what that was that did the damage. Might have been auto.
Here's Hunter.
Free kill.
Ready for real. Drawn back towards that B site. There is an additional player coming in off the Cat, and Riots has opened up shop. Now Letney's got close pillar. Players wrapping around him. Oh, he's dropped the bomb. He's dropped the bomb, and he's even got another. 2 kills for Letney. Locking it down on his own, calling for that rotation to come over through Marketplace, and they don't know where YJ's gotten off to, but Rafa has so much HP, and his teammate not the same. YJ, 10 health, spammed by Esperanto, never even had a chance to fight back in this round, and now he is fighting off the back foot in a 1v3. Smoke's got him covered for the time being. Letney's going to be up close on it, anticipates the walkout, and seals the deal. A 4K from Letney, trying to pull off basically what Hunter could have in the previous round, working inside of the bomb site and catching those T's off guard.
Big plays from Hunter, 30 frags for him. Nice map from Hank as well. You know, the youngster is showing a good performance here on land. But overall, it was just a slightly better game for Valiance, even though they started slow.
Yeah.
And then even players like Letney at the end, showing us that they weren't completely out of it.
But what a turnaround on that CT side. I mean, you've got to put it home. That first half was quite lackluster from Valiance. I think we come into this expecting maybe like a 16-5, 16-8, and the first 15 rounds did not give us any kind of showing from that. So in the first half, we had a lot of suspense, and in the post game, we have a lot of suspenders. It's Bach and the analysts on the desk.
What a segue.
I like that. That was good. How long were you thinking of that, though? That's really the question. I think he's been like,
Knowing
brainstorming that
Stronny,
one.
he came with that 5 seconds before he said it. He's pretty quick on those types of things. I'll give him his props.
So that ended up being a very interesting series, and I was almost right. Almost.
You absolutely were. Man, I feel W7M should have won that match. Honestly, I think they looked like the better unit. Now, obviously, individually, it definitely helped Valiance, the fact that they were just better in a lot of these cases, especially on those contact plays. But W7M actually impressed me very much so. On their CT side, in the beginning of the rounds, we saw that they had a really strong mid control, and that helped them set themselves up to condition Valiance. And this made their A and B sites a lot weaker, and that's how we saw Valiance get their rounds. But the adjustment from W7M, these kinds of adjustments mid-round, mid-game, it's really impressive to see, and you don't actually get to see that in the lower tier teams very often.
Yeah, I mean, I think that from watching this game, again, W7M was impressive. It was a very scrappy start to the first half. They closed out so well. They won 5 of the last 6 rounds in the first half, and I felt like it was predicated on like really good team play. They handled the aggression of Valiance really well. Remember, that was one of the things we were kind of wondering, could they do it? The other big thing we were wondering is, outside of Rafa, who consistently performs well, could anyone else do so? Because a lot of these other guys can be a little bit of up and down players, and Pank, while he's been really good in online play, has sometimes struggled in the offline environment. And we got our answer, at least in the first half, that yeah, they could. They could step up to the plate, deliver when they needed to. I just think in the second half, they couldn't handle Valiance's CT aggression. Like Esperanto would push A-ramp, get a couple of kills. Hunter would push middle, underpass, get a couple of kills. And so I felt like anytime W7M tried slow play and more methodical default and mid-rounding, they would get whittled down by aggression. But if they went for faster pace executes, they could have a lot of success, particularly on that B-bomb site. So there was definitely a lot of positives to take from it, but unfortunately, Valiance was just a little bit better that game.
Yeah, they definitely were just a little bit better. And I got to point out YJ. He was a little bit of a quiet player, but some of the rounds, whenever it came onto his screen, his point of view, his movement was very clever. It's not like he was bunny hopping everywhere and flashy plays, but just the way he went for those kills and those refrags, and his ability to move out into more advantageous positions. These kinds of plays on LAN, especially for a newer, younger team, you don't generally see these individual shining moments. And I have to point out YJ's intelligent plays. It really resulted in him on his CT side to enable him to get more kills.
We do have Nexus standing by for an interview after that victory over W7M. Were you guys at all a little bit nervous when you drew W7M, given that you guys maybe don't have as much to look at to prepare against them?
I mean, no, not really. I mean, they played a lot of games in Brazil, against Brazilian teams, and we had like enough demos to watch and to prepare for them. I think we were just nervous right now playing on the stage, and the crowd is kind of hyped and everything is shaking, and I think we just kind of had some little jitters there at the start, but we managed to pull through.
I have a couple of questions for you next. The first one being is obviously you guys had kind of a cool moment at the minor, taking out Mouse Sports, and had some good games against Fatality, and almost made it to the major. Didn't quite though, and so now this is kind of your next opportunity in the offline environment to kind of show the world what you're made of. How important is a deep run at this event for your team, for the mentality, and for kind of your future?
I would say it's not that important. We just came back from the League LAN. I don't know if you heard it, and we won there, and that was kind of like a big confidence boost here. And I would say we're one of the favorites to win this event. I don't think we have that much pressure on us. We already showed what we're capable of, and we're just gonna keep working harder, and we'll show everyone who doubts us that they're wrong.
Yeah, congrats on that win against Wendigo, by the way, at United Masters. I did keep an eye on that. Another thing I want to ask about, though, is like the leadership structure of this team. I know that in the past you've done a little bit of in-game leading, but there didn't really seem to be a clear front runner for the leading position on this team when you think about the history of the players. So what is that like right now, the environment of the team as far as leadership goes?
Yeah, that's one of the issues we have in the team, is that we don't actually have a real committed in-game leader, and that's the advantage we have here playing at DreamHack, is that our coach is able to talk on freeze time, so he gives a lot of the calls, because we don't have to use pause for him to talk, so he gives a lot of the calls here. But in general, when he can't talk, it's just me and Hunter calling together, you know. So that's it.
We appreciate you spending some time with us to give us a little bit of insight. Go ahead and break off and celebrate the victory with your team. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
So, you know, a little bit surprising, like you'd mentioned this, that structure is a little bit more untraditional. They're lacking that true in-game leader.
Yeah, I know Hunter's kind of doing it, but it's almost like his brother Nico on FaZe. It's very much like one of those things where it's probably not the ideal situation where he wants to be, but he does it out of necessity. And he still performs pretty well individually, so I think it's working so far, but certainly long-term, I think it's going to be something I have to think about, sure.
A lot of confidence coming out of Nexa in that interview. As I mentioned, I don't think that this win for Valiance was as clear-cut as they might think. W7M to me looked like the better unit. As I mentioned, they lost some very unfortunate rounds. In fact, they lost 2 anti-ecos to pistols, and just turning that round around, they could have very easily had a 10-5 half on that CT side, and that's a whole different ballgame.
All right, well, we are going to go ahead and throw things to a very brief break, and when we come back, it'll be more of the show here at DreamHack Open Rio 2019. Stay tuned.